Okay.
can do it to each other, whatever
Okay.
makes you feel most comfortable.
Yeah. Hi.
So, hi, my name is Gracelynn Lomax. I am a freshman in IHS, and I'm here to interview you based on ICSD and the community and all the adults and teachers.
All right. It's an honor and a privilege to serve as your superintendent. I'm Lou Bell Brown. Thank you for being here.
Of course. So, my first question starts off, how does it feel knowing that not only in this building, but in all buildings of ICSD, how does it feel to know that there's a community of students who look up to you and who cherish you as their superintendent?
It's humbling and it's emotional because as you're asking me that question, I'm thinking about how much I've looked up to you.
Right.
I know your journey, and I know the journey of so many of our young people. You know, I've been here a while. Many of the young people I've known over my time here, I saw them as preschool students.
Right.
And now some of those same students are working in our buildings as
Right.
adults. So, and I've learned from them along the way.
Right.
So, to your question, it's emotional because of the love I have for the young people I've learned from. And I do know they're always watching.
Right.
And how I walk, how I talk,
Right.
how I treat others, the ways I dress,
Right.
the ways I write, the ways I read. I know people are watching, so I'm always thinking about that. But I'm also paying attention to what they're doing too because I'm learning.
Right.
Yeah.
It's lovely to know that you have students who come together and who's like, that's the person we need to look up to. That's
Yeah.
the person who's helping us.
Yeah.
What is a define community in your perspective?
Yeah. It's an us, not a them. It's a we, not a you.
Right.
Community. I'm coming from a community of community builders. My parents spent their lives building a community.
Right.
They brought people together. They laughed together. They broke bread together. So I've been reared, and I've only known community builders. So it's important. You can't learn from someone unless you know them.
Right.
You can't connect with someone if they don't have a relationship with you. So that's key to this work that we're doing here in the school
Right.
district. Building relationships and building community, that comes first. And then we can get to the highest levels of academic achievement and understanding and knowledge and thinking. But the community is first.
Right. As our superintendent, obviously, how have you managed to form a safe space for not only students but the adults who work in DeWitt and IHS and Boynton?
That's an ongoing challenge every day. I mean, you can look at the newspaper, listen to the radio, talk to young people and adults in our buildings.
Right.
Being safe and feeling safe is not a given. It's not the default. It's something we have to work on every single day.
Right.
And so that is my passion, is to cultivate a safe and loving space for everyone. I didn't always feel safe in a public space, in schools. Frankly, I don't always feel safe in this community or in our schools here.
Right.
For many reasons, because of my identity, because of the role I have, because of the things I say, because of the things I stand for. So that notion of safety is something we must work on every day, all day, but it's utmost important.
Right.
It's the thing we must have first, the thing we must have the most of if we want to get to real good teaching and learning. So I appreciate the question, and please know I'm here to serve in a way where I'm cultivating a loving and safe space for you every day.
Right.
But I also know that it's not always happening.
Right. How do you think us, the adults and students, can improve our Ithaca City School District?
Talk, be in a space with one another, love. See, that kind of love and that kind of building with one another is going to require trust, and I know trust is hard to earn.
Right.
It's going to require us to be forgiving of one another. It's going to require us to be patient with one another.
Right.
It's going to require us to be selfless, where we are thinking about one another and one another's feelings and their experiences. So that's, again, ongoing work that we must do together. It's very important.
Right.
And it's why I'm still here.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta flip the page.
Yeah, no, awesome. Great question.
How do you think you've made the teachers feel appreciated and a part of like our like the ICSD community, not just with students but for students?
You know, there are things that I've attempted to do and things I've attempted to say
Right.
and things we've attempted to implement with hopes that people, young, particularly our educators, teachers, feel a sense of belonging and feel appreciated. And also know that it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And that sense of appreciation comes from oneself or from within. So I can speak to, being able to answer any question. I've asked folks to email me. I've met with every educator. I try to be in classrooms. I attempt to be open, and to be available and to have access to everyone. We've attempted to validate folks through compensation, although you can never pay an educator enough.
Right.
But we have, during my tenure, I've been a part of the most significant salary increases in the history of the school district.
Right.
So you want to pay people as much as you can. You want to give them time off.
Right.
You want to say that you see them. You want to thank folks. I feel like I've done those things, but I also know, having been a teacher, having been an educator for almost 30 years, it's never probably going to be enough.
Right.
So I ask educators, I ask teachers, I ask anyone to try to cultivate their own self-efficacy and joy.
Right.
Because that's most important.
Right.
When you find joy yourself, it's liberating. And then it also helps when other folks see that joy in you or attempting to cultivate joy as well. So I appreciate the question, and if there are ideas or things people wish for or want to see more of from me or our school district, I'm open to that.
Right.
Because humbly, we are always looking to be better.
Right.
And I don't think we ever have done enough. And I am keenly aware of that, and I want to be better.
Right.
Your questions are great, by the way.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job of asking them. Awesome.
As far as, our education system, why aren't current politics spoken about? Or why aren't they taught things like things going on in Palestine and Israel, or things that were happening in Ukraine? Why weren't those more spoke about throughout our community?
Yeah, we have literally thousands of teaching and learning spaces associated with our school district. In some of those spaces, these sensitive topics are talked about a lot. In some of our spaces, they are talked about very little, if not at all. And that oftentimes comes back to the comfort level of the individual educator. And I wish every educator, every person in our school district, associated with our school district, was comfortable having challenging and difficult conversations about these sensitive topics.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's just not the case.
Right.
There's strong feelings that are in the space most times. Typically, people become uncomfortable. So when you ask why not more, I would say it typically comes back to the individual comfort level of the educator. I know I'm having conversations with folks every day about this.
Right.
And I know some teachers and some students are doing it every day, but some aren't doing it at all.
Right.
And that's something, as a school district, as a community, as a nation, we need to do more of and be better with. It requires us to be better with challenging and uncomfortable conversations. And hey, if we can't do that here, where can we do it?
Right.
And the key to the future of our country and our world is to have learners and thinkers like you engaging in that challenging, difficult dialogue, coming from multiple perspectives each and every day.
Right.
So I feel you. I hear you. Help us be better.
Right. My last question kind of circles back to the buildings in our community. There are certain things that students have said or have done, and they don't get a consequence. They aren't held responsible. And I had a list of topics. Like even today, there are some kids who are still saying the N-word or derogatory terms. I've seen kids vaping and smoking, and they've been skipping class. And from my perspective, obviously, I haven't seen them give a consequence. And I just feel like what can we do? What consequence can we give them? Like what actions can be taken towards them?
Let's thank you for that wonderful question, and thank you for your engagement and your advocacy for our community to be better. And I will go back to my time sitting in a high school as a freshman. These were topics I was bringing up with the superintendent.
Right.
The use of dehumanizing language.
Right.
At the time, for us, it was smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Now it's vaping. Alcohol and substance abuse. Fighting. So these things have been present in schools, high schools, and communities for generations. And they have a negative impact on the community. So we need to be vigilant in an ongoing way, cultivate solutions that may include consequences, that may include education,
Right.
that may include additional supports that the school may or may not be able to provide.
Right.
So, yes, this is something that happens. Let's define consequence.
Marcel Bolts, please come to the Welcome Center. Marcel Bolts.
You'll be able to cut to me saying consequence. I'll start back there. How about that?
Okay.
A consequence. A consequence can range, and it's good to hear you say you don't know
Right.
the consequence, because to protect an individual student's and a family's privacy, you shouldn't know.
Right.
And when I hear that, it actually brings me, it brings a smile to know that you wouldn't know the consequence for another a student, because that is by design. Now, what we do wish to be is more restorative. I was a student when some of these things would happen, you wouldn't see that student again.
Right.
I don't want to have a community where we are that unforgiving,
Right.
or when there is someone who's not being compliant, the automatic consequence is exclusion. Because not only is that bad for the student who's being excluded, that sends a strong message to everyone else.
Right.
If I'm not compliant, I will be excluded too.
Right.
Now, in very egregious situations, there will be some time away from the community. There will be a suspension. There will be a longer suspension. Those things still happen, and it's good to know that many students don't know if that's happening. But I'm here to tell you, we are making every effort to be as restorative as possible. And when those things happen, there are conversations about how the community was impacted, where everyone learns and grows, and we can bring that young person, that student, that adult even, back into our environment in a way that's loving and forgiving
Right.
and patient. So this is the work of building community.
Right.
What I can say is that now, as a school administrator with 30 years of experience, I see it differently than I did as a freshman,
Right.
when I saw the same things happening in my bathrooms or in my cafeteria, and I wanted students to be gone. And I now see that, and I'm happy that I work and live in a community where that's not the expectation.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Of course. Well, that was my last question.
I got some questions for you, Kit. You got time?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop and then start. So.
Will this also be put up?
Yeah,
Him asking me
it
questions?
might be. I'm gonna be good about you. You're gonna love this.
Okay.
Hey,
Whenever you're ready.
I am enjoying serving as your superintendent. I learn most and am most joyful when I am having conversation with.
Marcel Bolts, please come to the Welcome Center.
Oh God.
Marcel Bolts,
Oh, myself.
please come to the
Restoration. Anyway, I am most joyful when I have conversations with beautiful thinkers and amazing thinkers like you.
Right.
Tell me, what do you wish to see from your school that may not be happening right now?
I feel like we need to respect each other more. We have to take people into consideration. Considering the fact that from what I've seen, being a freshman in ICSD, it's like there's certain kids that are disrespecting and overstepping boundaries that were set specifically for them. And then it's like, as soon as this person is like trying to, how can I say that? Trying to express to them like, you can't do this. This is wrong. Like, I thought I expressing themselves more aggressively, I guess you could say. You look at them and they're like, they're the aggressor. And I've seen that so many times where they'll poke and poke and poke, and then when someone finally blows up, it's like, we didn't do nothing to you. It's just like, I feel like nowadays we need to respect each other's boundaries more, and we need to take other people into consideration.
And you're talking about adult to student, student to student?
Both.
Both, yeah. Thank you for that.
I feel like another thing is students don't respect teachers as much as I would expect them to.
Yeah.
From 6th grade to now, I've seen teachers be cursed at or yelled at.
Yeah.
Just for them simply trying to say, hey, can you turn this in? Hey, can you put your phone away? And it's just like, that's your teacher, that's an adult.
That's something that needs to be interrupted, and we have no tolerance for that. Tell me, what do you love about being in the ICSD and in the school? What's your favorite thing about it?
you can be yourself in a way.
Mhm.
You can find people who you can relate to.
Yeah.
Might be hard, yes,
Mhm.
I would know, but as it goes on, you learn to forgive, you learn
Yeah.
to accept, you learn to let go of certain things that are like, okay, this is holding me back from
Mhm.
proceeding to where I need to be in the future.
Mhm.
So I also love how you're able to talk to people
Yeah.
and say, hey, for those kids who actually do take people into consideration, say, hey, you made me feel this way. And they can talk it out and they'll
Mhm.
apologize. I
Mhm.
love how we're able to communicate maturely without having to put hands on each other or,
Yeah.
you know, just we're able to communicate in a level where we...
That's a characteristic of a healthy culture.
Right.
Do you feel a sense of belonging here?
Depends on who I'm around.
Mm.
Some people, I could be around older kids and they could be just like me and it's like, okay, we're the same, I feel
Yeah.
we're good, we're on good. But I could be with people who are older and they do things I would never do. And it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, you know,
Yeah.
be too close.
Yeah.
And then there's that one in the middle where it's like, this is just perfect.
Yeah.
That are my age, we're just alike and it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be here.
Got you. Lightning round.
Right.
Your favorite class?
English,
Your favorite sport?
basketball.
Your favorite teacher?
All.
Oh, yes. Your favorite administrator?
All.
Oh, your favorite movie?
Central Intelligence.
Oh, good one.
I can't go a day without watching that without my dad.
Your favorite comic book character?
I wouldn't call it a comic book, but it's kind of something like that. It's Harry Potter. Probably Draco Malfoy.
What are you reading right now?
Too many books to count. Too many books to count.
You bring me a lot of joy. Well, I must say, I've always been proud to know you and impressed by everything about you. But I want you to hear me
Thank
say
you.
this, and I want your parents to hear this, your dad and your mother. I see you. I appreciate your talents. You bring joy to me and so many others. And I'm just honored to be a part of your journey. And I hope that you'll give me the privilege of being a part of your journey, even beyond the school district, because you're going to change the world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Anything else we need? No, you just made my day, and right on time. It wasn't that bad, right?
It wasn't bad. I thought I'd stutter and I'd have
Oh.
something
You're
wrong.
just having a conversation.
That took like a lift off my shoulders. Like, okay, I got it done.
I got it done. And you know, it's what we call, there's some science behind what you just went through. It's called good stress. Because you're going to have good stress opportunities for the rest of your life. Is there a job?